it was just obvious that of course you're a feminist. So for me, I guess it's a sense of community in a way. It's also like I feel like it's just a fact in a way that if you're unwilling to call yourself a feminist, either maybe you've misunderstood or you've just not looked at the facts that are available. I became a feminist, or discovered feminism, quite early, because I think it was something that I already felt, but when I remember kind of discovering the concepts and the wording around it just when I turned, like in my early teens, through music. For instance, like David Bowie's Suffragette City, I asked my mom, like, what does this word mean, suffragette? And that led me to realize that, you know, okay, this is very recent history that I didn't know about, how it was like that the legal and political rights for women were not just given, they were fought for. And so I started gaining like the vocabulary of that, but it was something I'd always felt from really early on, that there were, I guess what I felt was that there were such different expectations on girls and boys depending on their gender, and it didn't really sit right with me. I mean, I always felt like I did a lot of things that were considered typically girly, but you want to be able to kind of move within the whole spectrum of interests and things, and there were certain things that were much more okay than others, and behaviors that were okay and others that weren't. And also I early on saw how space were divided differently, like attention and space in society, that there wasn't equality, like politically or economically, but also just like in mundane things, how much attention boys were given in school and in general, that sort of irritated me, I guess. I mean, gender is a construct. Sex is a biological, you're born a certain way, but that is, so that is just like, yeah, a biological fact, I guess. But gender is fluid, and gender should not be the decision making to what's expected from you, because gender should, it should just be more, it shouldn't be less important, so that it doesn't divide people, I guess. Well, in a practical sense, I'm really conscious of the culture I consume, for example, like books I read, films I watch, because if you just take what's given, it will usually be men's stories told by men. So I make a conscious effort to when I listen to podcasts and watch movies and read books, I will always choose female authors and directors and journalists or whatever. And I also try to, like as a teacher, I try to be very aware of that what I teach is not just, based on old stereotypes or perceptions. And I try to, especially with my female students, be just also a role model, I guess. It sounds conceited maybe to say, but because I think representation is so important, and that's what hasn't been, women haven't been represented in, particularly not in positions of power, but also just culturally and in whenever you come to like higher positions anywhere, there are fewer and fewer women, even if it's getting better. So that's also with something that I, in my profession when I paint, I represent women.